Welcome to High Life. Today's guest is our very own Faheem Kakroo, Associate Director at Christie's International Real Estate Dubai, with a decade of luxury real estate experience. So tell me a bit about your journey leading to joining Christie's.
I come from UK, London-based. I came to Dubai almost over 10 years ago. I was in investment banking back in the UK. Came to Dubai, joined real estate here. There was, at that time when I came here, there was a lot of talk about real estate, booming and great opportunities in the Middle East, and Dubai was basically at the forefront of everything. So I came and pretty much never looked back since then.
So tell me, how was Dubai's real estate scene different back in 2015, all the way leading up to 2020, as opposed to what it looks like now?
Yeah, so look, Dubai real estate is, I would say, so dynamic. It's just crazy. It's nothing like anywhere else in the world. So when I first came here, and about 10 years ago, almost 10 years ago, the real estate market was it was actually, there was a lot of interesting projects coming into the market. So off-plan was actually at the forefront of everything, because at that time Dubai was a maturing city. It still is, but it was far less developed as is now. So there was a lot of hype around off-plan projects. A lot of people were buying, a lot of people were investing. So it was a great time for investors and buyers in the market. Then it took a little dive, so it slowed down a little bit because the market sentiment was different. So buyers lost a lot of confidence because a few developers were delayed on their projects. There was less regulations now. There was less regulations before. And now obviously the regulations are much tighter and much better now. So the market sentiment changed a little bit. If you look at the figures, in 2014, I believe it was 90 billion worth of sales, which was reduced to around 50 billion.
Wow.
Yeah, leading up to
Big decrease.
2018 to 2019. So it slowed down. Even though there were a few projects like Nishamas, there was a handful of projects that were doing really, really well. I remember, we had to wait in queues for hours for clients to get units. It was literally never seen anything like it. People were queuing up for days. We used to have I remember we used to have people queuing up for you, and they do shifts.
Oh,
so
wow.
4 hours they do, 4 hours you will do, and then another your colleague would do another 4 hours, and so on and so forth. So it was crazy. It was nuts. But that was only a handful of developers that were launching projects like this, new projects. So the hype was there, but overall the market sentiment was a bit low.
Okay, so how did you manage this slowdown after, you came to Dubai, you came because the real estate market was booming, and then actually you saw, it going the other way as you would have expected. So how did you manage that slowdown?
So at that time, there was a massive shift I felt economically from the west to the east. So China, Singapore, Hong Kong, Japan, places like this. So I took a punt, packed my bags, and went to Far East Asia. So I saw a massive opportunity at that time. There was unrest in Hong Kong with China, which saw a lot of high net worth individuals moving away from China to Singapore, moving their money over there. But nobody was really, focusing on Dubai. So I just went there and just, opened people's eyes, and that paid off really well, because while the market was stagnant here, it was booming over there, and there was a lot of money that was, being distributed. But the likes of, tax-free element of things, safe banking, safe real estate, this was unheard of. So I literally just went and
Started a movement.
kind of started a movement. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and if you see now, Chinese are one of the biggest investors in Dubai.
That takes us to 2020,
Correct.
when COVID hit the world.
Yeah.
So one would think that, that only made things even worse, like it did in pretty much, the rest of the world. But what we saw is the complete opposite in Dubai. That's when Dubai really started to flourish. So tell me about, a bit of the Dubai, and especially the real estate landscape in 2020 and all the way leading up to today.
I think you have to hand it to Dubai and the government. The way they handled COVID was phenomenal. they kept their borders open, which was the biggest thing that they did, was the best thing for Dubai, because now everyone started coming here, realizing, okay, you know what, Dubai is an amazing place to visit in terms of tourism. It's an amazing place to live in terms of safety, in terms of the tax-free element of things. It's a tax haven, and not only that, just the lifestyle that Dubai presents. It was kind of unseen by a lot of people. So COVID really opened a lot of people's eyes, and that resulted in, so many millionaires. I think it was about 4,700 millionaires in the space of 1 year or 2 years that, entered Dubai as residents.
But what we've also seen is a significant migration of corporations, either opening their offices here or even, moving their entire operations to the UAE and especially Dubai. So why do you think that happened?
Again, we go back to the tax element of things. Not only the tax element of things, but if you look at geographically, Dubai is pretty much in the center of the world. You have Emirates that flies to pretty much every corner of the world. So strategically, the location of Dubai is amazing. So big corporations can actually cover much footprint of the world by being here. That's number one. Secondly, it's the ease of opening a company here is very straightforward. You can have a trade license within a week or 10 days set up. You can have a company set up within a week to 10 days. It's that easy, it's straightforward. The cost of setting up a business here is actually far lower than a lot of countries around the world, the major cities around the world. Not only that, the vision of Dubai, the leadership of Dubai, the leadership of the UAE, should I say, is amazing, because, the GDP they want to grow to is phenomenal. On average, growth of GDP around the world is around 2.5%, whereas Dubai was 4.6, if I'm not mistaken, which is like double the amount of the rest of the world. And they want to continue that. So what you see is when you have a growing economy like that, at that rate, the growing infrastructure at that rate, it's the best place to be, whether you're an individual investor, whether you're a corporate.
Well, the facts and the data speak for themselves. So talking about numbers and facts, I believe you've got some data on the most recent market figures, specifically the year of 2023 and Q1 2024.
Actually, I have some data with me. Because it's funny that you asked me that.
It's almost like we prepared for this.
Yeah, I know, right? But we didn't. So villa prices increased by 50% from 2020 to 2023. We had increase in apartment prices, more than 20%. And volumes of transactions that were actually happening increased by 295% from 2020 to 2023 within the space of 3 years. Then 2023 saw so many numerous records being broken. As we know, there's been quite actively publicized. So we're looking at here, we reached in sales transactions reached a record-breaking 411 billion,
Wow.
which was a 56% increase from 2022, which again 2022 was the highest previous to that. Prior to that,
Just for international viewers, that's around $112 billion.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah.
And then 2023 sales volumes reached 133,000, which was again a record transaction. And also, importantly, a lot of the sales were over $10 million, for example. So the luxury high-end sector saw a massive boom from 2020 to 2023. We're looking at a rise of 91% from 2022 to 2023.
Wow.
Which was, again, crazy, because 2022 was a record-breaking year in itself. And then 2023 came and you was like, okay, you know what, we'll just blow you out the water. And then 2024, we're now seeing so far in Q1 alone, 115 billion, which is around $31 billion. And it's basically increased 30% from the previous year, quarter one. So we're saying we're on track right now to have another record-breaking year. So 2022 was a record-breaking year, then 23, and now we're also seeing that being broken in 2024 again.
Yeah, my next question was going to be, where do you see this going in the near future?
It's a good question because, I get that question a lot. And I'm pretty sure everyone who's involved with real estate gets this question a lot. I still think there's a room for growth in this market here, real estate market. The reason for that is because I think it's very much still undervalued in comparison to other major cities around the world. And when I say major cities, not just capital cities, but just major cities around the world. And just going back to my earlier point when I said, what is $1 million or £1 million going to get you in central London, in Paris, New York, in these places? And the answer is not a lot, to be honest. Yeah, it's not a lot. But here you can just, you can be on Emaar beachfront, for example, with your beach, a nice 2-bed apartment, quite spacious, 1-bed or 2-bed apartment, big space, all the facilities, good quality, good space. And that you can't get anywhere else in the market, in the world, for those kind of prices. So I think there's still room for growth.
Many people are saying, though, that Dubai can't sustain itself like this, regardless of the numbers, and a crash is inevitably coming. So what have you got to say to those skeptics?
To be honest with you, a lot of people say that, of course, because we've seen since 2020, there's been a massive growth and massive boom at a rate that nobody's seen before. So a lot of people think, yes, there's going to be a crash because, it's a bubble, it can't sustain itself. And to some degree, they might be right, but I do feel there will be a correction. When? Don't know. And it's needed. It's a healthy correction. It's needed, but I do believe there will be one. Will there be a crash? I don't think so. Because for a crash to happen, the economy needs to be either slowing down or going down. The growth of the economy needs to, be slower than the demand and the supply in the market. But that's not the case here, because, like I said earlier, Dubai's vision to grow the economy, the infrastructure, is crazy. It's it's phenomenal.
Yeah, so Dubai is not a bubble.
In many ways, we do live in a bubble because we do 100%. Let's be honest, we do live in a bubble because Dubai. Dubai is in a world of its own. Honestly, you forget that there is a world out there because you're so accustomed to the Dubai lifestyle. Yeah, so in many ways, yes, we do live in a bubble. But if you're talking about financially, and in terms of real estate, I don't think, because when you say a bubble, that means it's going to be a massive crash.
Yeah.
Like the ones we experienced back in 2008, 2009. It's not going to be like that. Dubai is more heavily regulated now compared to what it was before. There's heavy regulations. It's much more secure for investors, buyers, for all types of people, in Dubai. So if there was a crash around the world and everything, I think Dubai are very much suited or prepared for that.
Mm-hmm. So Faheem, a bit of a personal question for you. Over your decade of real estate experience, what has been the highest sale you've seen, heard of, or brokered?
Okay, so the biggest sale I've seen or been part of, I don't want to disclose too much because I'm through a bit of a strict NDA.
Sure.
But it was one of the 5-star hotels. It's a very prominent hotel here in Dubai, and that was purchased by a investment group, and I was part of that deal. And the deal was just under $1 billion dirhams.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was probably the biggest one I've seen, brokered, and
Heard of.
and heard of. I mean, I've heard of other deals that are more than billions. I mean, you just have to go online and have a look at some of them. But I've personally been part of that was just under $1 billion, and that was a hotel transaction. But every day there is, every week or every month you hear something different, or a record's been broken for the most expensive penthouse being sold. Dubai is like that, because
there always has to be a record broker.
Yeah, of course, yeah. And the beauty of it is, it pushes us brokers and agents to be part of those deals. But yeah, that's been the one that I've been involved with.
Very interesting. This has been so insightful. Thank you, Faheem.
You're more than welcome.